Well, I haven't been posting videos in a few days because the funny thing happened is I come home after work one day. I think it was the day after yesterday, the day before yesterday. I turn on my TV. Usually that's what I do. I watch news, like free news. What is called news, some app on my LG TV. So when I eat dinner or supper, I usually watch news from around the world, right? And then I watch some movie. Like I click on the TV, it says connect to the network. Okay, I check, and it says connected. I look in the back at the the white box. All the lights are green, so there's definitely internet, but it doesn't want to play. I go to my computer, which share the same and the same network, and none of the tabs work. When I click like Chrome or whatever, news or email, connect to the network. And then I try my phone. On the phone I have separate service, right? And my internet is with Shore cable, and I had Rogers before, but when I moved to Alberta, the reception was super bad. I could not make calls. Like inside my apartment, I had 0 bars. And then I switched to Bell. I got 1 bar inside of my apartment. And then a friend of mine says, when I ask him about this, he says, no, in Alberta you need TELUS. So TELUS is like, in Eastern Canada, Bell was great. I loved Bell. I hated TELUS because of the stupid advertising with animals. It just doesn't make any sense. But turns out in Western Canada it works. So that's what I realized after I switched to TELUS. At least now my phone worked inside of my apartment on the first floor of a 4-story apartment building. But actually now they say Rogers has improved. They added a few towers, but I don't trust that. Like, why would I go back, But the funny thing is that before I missed a payment or something for cable, and I tried calling, and nobody's answering the phone, and the message, and then when I went online, it says, your provider now is Rogers. Like, wait, what? Like, so it turns out TELUS either went bankrupt, either went bankrupt or something, or Rogers bought them out. But so now Rogers has they call them Rogers with Shore. So it's like a separate department that deals with former Shore customers. And so I called Rogers and said, guys, I think I missed the payment, but the internet worked. This was like a few months ago. And the guy says, don't worry, it's all good. So they will just retry the payment. And I actually went to my nearest Rogers wireless store is at Cross Iron Mills. I'm just checking the clock here on the screen. It's 6:32 in the morning. I have to leave the car at 6:40 to clock in before 6:45. And it's minus 26 outside. The deep freeze continues. And so I drove to Rogers Wireless at Cross Iron Mills. The guy checked my account. Everything is good. All right. And he gave me, by the way, I saved like $40 or $50 because he switched me to a better plan. So Rogers was cheaper, and he says actually I would have faster speeds, And I did notice that apps were loading faster on TV after this. So actually it was good. So I think it was about, of course it's way more expensive than let's say in UK. But before I think I was paying $160 Canadian a month. So now after Rogers took over, I'm paying about $110. And so now when internet went out, so I called that department again, Rogers with Shore. And the lady says, I need to verify your account before I tell you what happened. Can I send you a text message? And I said, text message, what phone number you have there? And she says, last 4 digits are 2505. And I said, that number is like 10 years old, what's going on? Can you send me an email or something? But anyway, so we were on and off. She couldn't verify me. Basically, the wrong information. And she says, you need to go in person to a Rogers store to straighten things up. And so I went back to the same Rogers store yesterday. A super attractive young female was at the counter available. And she logged in with her beautiful long-nailed fingers in 2 seconds. And she says, so I'll see if I can do, because we have limited capability as a third-party provider, because it's still like Shaw, even though they own it. But she was able to change the phone number, because I explained to her basically what these guys did after they took over. Instead of importing my data from Shaw, which were all up to date, correct new phone number, correct new email address and address, they just used their old Rogers records, because I did have a Rogers phone long before. And, I don't know, for 5 years, 6 years, and it was a 226 number, because that's Ontario. And so that's all they had. And the lady says, yeah, I put in your new phone number, 403. And then she says, also, where did you do this? Where did you sign up for Shaw? I said, well, there was a Shaw store at the Sandridge Mall in Calgary. Used to be. And she said, well, they misspelled your email address. Because basically right away she said, I missed some payments. That's why they disconnected the internet. And I said, why nobody sent me any like text messages or emails? And that's why, because they had my old phone number, so of course messages would go nowhere unless somebody in Ontario now has that number. And they misspelled my email address, so they were not able to send me a email, like reminder, hey, your payment bounced or something. And nowadays they don't bother with letters, right? So usually it's either a text message or an email. And so it's like a funny situation, kind of like ghost internet access, formerly owned by Shaw, now by Rogers. But anyway, turns out I missed 4 months of payments. I said, how did this happen? And she said, well, you did not see that there was no payments? And I said, well, I think I saw a name, Shaw Cable. I thought it was going through, and my internet worked. So turns out now I owe them like $400. Man, and right away you realize that's the most important bill that you have to keep your eye on, because you show up at home, well, at least there's electricity. Okay, that's good, right? So my mortgage is paid, but there's no TV. You cannot watch movies. You cannot go on the internet, And so, I tried to make a payment from the Rogers store. For some reason, wouldn't go through. I double check. Yeah, I have the money. Like, what's the problem? Oh, you'll have to go to the bank. But then she says it will take 2 days. So, okay, so I drive from Rogers store. I drive to a bank in my area. Give the guy the account number I have with Shaw Cable. I took a picture of the date on my phone. So I said, this is the account number. I need to make a bill payment. So I said, but Shaw Cable doesn't exist, but I think maybe it'll pop up on your screen as a provider that a customer can pay the bill to. And he said, yeah, it says Shaw Cable. Is that the one? I said, yeah, I think so. And so he made the payment. And the lady at the store said it'll take 2 days. So of course I come home, I turn on the TV, connect to the network. So basically no TV. But then I see my TV says, choose your connection method. And there's gives you 2 choices. Wired network, which I had before, or wireless network. All right, I click on the wireless network and start the hotspot on my phone. And lo and behold, the day before I wasn't able to do this for some reason, but now I started the Wi-Fi, the hotspot on the phone, and my TV found it. I see the name of my phone, boom, connected. I click on the news app. The wheels is spinning. I'm thinking, uh-oh. Probably will say connect to the network. No, then the app comes on. I'm watching the news. I started watching a movie, then I fell asleep. So amazing. So the phone works as a hotspot with a TV. So maybe I don't need the, full-blown internet access. I don't know. Okay, 6:39. One more minute. Holy moly. Yesterday was hot to work. It was minus 24 in the morning. So I had like 50 layers of clothing on me, like underpants, undershirts, t-shirts. Very bad. And just last week we had, +9, +10, which is 50F. Like, unbelievable. There were lots of accidents on the roads, so I should get my internet back probably tomorrow or tonight, and I have a video already prepared from my previous day, so I'm gonna upload it, but this will be next after this one. Captain Sergey in the dark, no internet. I'll let the games begin. I'm doing my first run in the Freightliner, and the steering wheel is so cold that I'm using these actually pretty thick napkins, because I tried putting on my gloves, but I have really shitty gloves, and they're slightly wet from the chains I touched this morning when I put on a what it's called. It's like a mini forklift, but like electric. Can lift 4,500 pounds. Yeah, pallet jack, electric pallet jack. And surprisingly, even though my deck was covered by snow, this thing just goes up like it's nothing, Like the other driver, I saw he was loading a scissor lift, and of course he had to winch it up because the wheels were spinning, even though he cleaned up the snow on his deck. But in this kind of weather, the deck becomes really slippery. So now it's minus 27 according to the thermometer in this truck, and I'm just going close by here. 14 clicks, which is like 8-9 miles, but the heater is working barely, so shortly the wheel should warm up. But I'm telling you, like, you would think that it's a fancy feature to have a warm heat on your steering wheel, but like I have in my Jeep and Durango, but it's, if you don't have that here, you would have to wear gloves touching the wheel. So I really should invest into some new gloves. I need those that have a rubber on the outside and some kind of a fur insulation inside, because otherwise they get wet. And I put them on the floor, so now the heater is directed to the floor, and so by the time I reach my destination, the gloves should be warm. But here, man, like seriously, it's like, I know it probably looks funny to you guys, like especially if you are somewhere watching this from Australia or Florida or California, but it's no joke. Your fingers are freezing just because of the stupid steering wheel. So yeah, you need gloves. You need the one set of gloves to work, and you need another set of gloves to wear inside while the truck is warming up. Now look at this guy. There's nobody in front of him. We're doing 60 kilometers an hour. And of course now, as soon as I try to pass him, he will accelerate. Watch. No? Freaking Chevy. The speed limit here is 100 kilometers an hour. Nobody in the front. No traffic jams. That moron is driving at 40 miles per hour. Actually, here was 110. Only here the sign says switches to 100. I'm doing 98, roughly 60 miles per hour. I don't know. When it gets, this is not the first time I noticed this. When it's cold, for some reason, people tend to drive very slow. Like seriously, there's no traffic, like open road like this. Okay, there's gonna be some traffic up ahead, but open road, everybody is like in half frozen state, you know? Like, they should get a ticket for this. That's called obstructing traffic. Well, at least it's not snowing and it's not windy like the other day. Man, first day when we got this cold, we had wind, a crosswind, which made visibility very poor because it was blowing snow across the road, but also it felt much colder than it was, you know. So man, so today is actually, even though it's minus 27, so it's colder, but it's not as bad because we don't have there's hardly any wind. But the screen on the dashboard of my Freightliner is still frozen. I can hardly see the mileage. It's bright light, but is it getting warmer? Well, we're getting there. Yeah, I'm gonna buy some gloves for sure, but I need to buy gloves that I brought gloves with me from home just to use like this, you know, but then I used them for work because they were nice and warm, and of course they were regular gloves, you know, that you just wear outside, and they tore up after like one day because I was handling chains and binders. They're not strong at all. So yeah, I'm gonna have one set of gloves for inside and one set of gloves for outside. But yeah, now I don't want to move back to Russia because this is like Russia, you know, except we don't have Putin. But this, back in the day, I remember when I was a kid, sometimes we would have, you know, like minus 40, which is, I think, is the same in Celsius and Fahrenheit in winter. But then the weather started changing, right, because of the climate change. Just like here, last week we were pretty much wearing shorts, and now we're using napkins to hold the steering wheel. Okay, this is McKnight Boulevard. I'm 8 clicks away, 5 miles from my destination, and I know the guy that I'm delivering to. I delivered machines for him many times. Basically, they're building a network of bowling alleys around the city. So I already delivered to 2 of their locations. So basically they take an old store that went out of business and they remodel it and they install machines inside. So it has a bowling alley plus a bunch of you know, like a, what they call them, arcade. And so now it looks like they moved into another location, and so they need this electric pallet jack. Probably they're unloading some stuff from the truck, but you know, it's a pretty handy machine. It's the one that I was talking to this guy who works for the beer company. I said, you guys have to unload this beer kegs and stuff by yourself? He says, yeah, but usually there's a helper if there's a big load in the trailer. And also he says we're using these electric pallet jacks. But he was complaining that in winter they get stuck in the snow. But imagine if he has like a 60-kilo keg of beer on it, and probably another guy has to sit on top of the keg just to make it steady. So no wonder the pallet jack gets stuck in the snow. Of course. Look at this guy. Minus 27, no hat, 1 shirt, no gloves. I wonder if he'll make it to his destination on foot. What? Minus 25 now. Wow. So it's almost spring. Well, finally the steering wheel warmed up a little bit because of my body heat. So Petro-Canada selling today gas or petrol for our friends in UK at $17.9. But that's the cheapest one. Actually today, oh, and here we have Shell on the other side of the street. A regular, which is the 87, is $29.9. So if you cross from that side of the street to this side of the street, you're saving a whopping, what is it, $1.30, $1.18, 12 cents per liter. I wonder why they do that, you know, like why would anybody in their right mind go there when they can go here? Well, unless you have a Shell, you know, card where you get points. And both of these guys sell diesel. Oh, and Esso here, so the 3 stations. Esso is $17.9, same as Petro-Canada. Actually, I find that Shell over here tends to be more expensive. I think the cheapest would be Esso, especially in the south of Calgary. Now look at this guy. Should have bought a condo. Yeah, I don't worry about snow. Except the other day, I was getting in the morning, could not open the door. What the heck? I push it, and then I see there's 2 feet of snow on the other side of the door on my patio. That's from the day when it was blowing, you know, like very windy. So it blew a bunch of snow into my, you know, kind of like a balcony, but it's on the first floor. And it was pushed against the door, so I had to grab a dust bucket, you know, like the one I brushed the dirt in, because I don't have a shovel. And I had to move that snow with that plastic, you know, dust thing, and it's all bending because yeah, it's not designed for snow. And just to give you an example of the realities here, so I bought coffee today. Shoot. And I said, is it okay if I use double cup? Because I said it gets cold very fast. And I left my own mug in the locker room, so I paid $2.40 for this. If I use my own mug, it will be $1.10. Oh, nice looking Mac. Hello. Talking about Macs, now they have this Anthem, I think. Maybe they used to have it when I had it, but my Mac was just CXU613. But actually, sometimes, you know, I watch old movies. I love the interior of that Mac, like the steering wheel, the dash. It was pretty nice inside, actually. Yeah, the dash was at an interesting angle. Except the sleeper was, of course, what it was, 52, 48 inches. I hardly had any room for you know, for my clothing and stuff. Okay, so we're turning here. Are you sure? John Laurie Boulevard. Check. All right. The pallet jack is still on the deck. Now here it's an interesting intersection. We have the advantage, we have the right of way compared to those guys, because they have a stop sign, which is unusual because we are turning left. So normally when you turn left, right, you're yielding the right of way to the guys coming towards you. And one thing I noticed, it gets light, like usually, even the other day, when I leave our yard, like 7:10, 7:15, it's still dark as heck. But now I'm leaving, I don't have to use my headlights, I just put on my parking lights because it was already light. So definitely we are seeing some progress with the spring coming eventually. So the days are getting longer, the nights are getting shorter. My late dad, I mentioned this before, but my late dad was so anal about this. Like, he would write down these numbers in his little journal, and he was really looking forward to, you know, the winter going away. He was getting very melancholy in December when we're still moving towards the longest night. But once we passed that and nights start getting shorter, he was like in a much better mood. This is Nose Hill Park, a beautiful place with lots of, you know, hiking and biking opportunities, but as long as you have strong legs, because it's very hilly. But I love this area. I've been there many times. Of course now, it's too cold. Forget it. Look at this. Christmas is back. Well, at least they cleaned up the snow. What happened after that, you know, deep freeze and high winds, that we got lots of bumps on the road, you know? It was awful. Because all that snow got compacted and there was like a bunch of hills. So you would drive and you would jump up and down like crazy. But then this morning I see in our area couple of snow plows, you know, they leveled those heaps of snow, and the road became much nicer. Just like here, you see the snow is not falling anymore, just there's lots of it in the fields. All right, I'm 1.5 clicks away, 1 mile, just under 1 mile. Oh, I think I know what it is. Yeah, it's a big shopping center. There's like lots of stores in there. They gave me again the name of the where I'm delivering this. It's the old, not Gap store like the other day, but I forgot, some old store. So again, I'm hoping the sign is there, because I have no idea where that old store used to be. If not, I'll be looking for some closed up windows and missing sign and some building permits in the window. Normally that's what happens. No, it's actually this one. I know this one. I bought a Nikon camera here because there's London Drugs here, and London Drugs is a pretty cool store. They sell electronics as well. Like, you would not think from the name, but yeah, London Drugs. So it's kind of like Best Buy and stuff.
300 meters, turn right onto Redwood Road Northwest. Signs for Crowchild Trail.
Yeah, there it is. It's all this area.
Turn right onto Redwood Road Northwest. Signs for Crowchild Trail.
But we just go to the next exit off Crowchild.
In 200 meters, turn right into the parking lot.
And after this, I have a very nice run out of town. Not too far, maybe 30 clicks, to pick up a skid steer that I delivered. All right, is it this one? You see cannabis everywhere, right? Because weed is legal in Canada.
Turn right into the parking lot, then turn right.
I think it would be somewhere here. I just have to double check my paperwork. Oh, that's what it is. Yeah, it's the old Toys R Us. And the sign is no longer there, but you can see the outlines of letters, and I see some commercial vans in there. So I'm guessing this is where my guy is. Toys R Us, Babies R Us. Okay, let me just, I have to write down the arrival time and call the guy or text him to ask if he wants this machine in the front or maybe in the back, because I know there's some loading docks in the back there. Well, the machine is delivered. I sent a guy a message, it's inside, put it inside for him, send him a code, the start code. Called the lady with the skid steer, because that's what they asked for, so that she could start the machine. So by the time I get there, it's gonna be warm. And I said, please, this is, so and so. I'm coming in 25 minutes. Could you please start the machine? And she says, yeah, sure. And one funny thing is about liquor stores in Alberta. They all like to use the words cold beer. See, look at this. It says Liquor Depot, cold beer, wine, and spirit. Why would I want cold beer at minus 26 Celsius, Like, I think what they should do is they should make the word cold kind of like illuminating, and so that they can turn it off. When it's cold like this, turn on the lights for beer, wine, spirits, but don't turn on the light for the word cold, because I don't think that's the makes people want to come in. All right, so now we're going to go on this road trip. 18 clicks from here. So what is that, 10 miles, 11? So 10 miles is 16 clicks plus 2 more kilometers, which is like 1 mile. So yeah, 11 miles. And that's the Crow Child, or 1A, because I cannot go this way, so I have to go around and jump on it from the bridge over there.
Turn right onto 32nd Avenue Northwest.
But man, it's cold. I was outside for like 5 minutes, and of course with these gloves, but they did warm up. I really love this. I put them on the floor, and they were warm. So now they're back on the floor, and the heater is blowing air towards the floor. Actually, wait a second. How do I need to get over there. Interesting. All right, well, somehow it's gonna send me towards this 1A, but wait, I think I could have gone that way, and there's a ramp there. Man.
Continue for 2 kilometers.
Yeah, man, I could have gone that way. But I don't know. Google Maps says turn left at that intersection, right? So this is the university area. Pretty popular destination for Uber. Because students, at least here, they have lots of money. And they don't like walking. Especially in this kind of weather. Well, except this guy. Had a lady yesterday, no, the other day. When was it? Like Tuesday, I think. Yeah, Tuesday. I was doing Uber after work. And Uber gives me a ride and I see the name says Svetlana. And it's spelled with a S-V-I, Svetlana, which I know is Ukrainian because in Russian it's Svetlana with E, S-V-E. And of course she can see my name, Sergey, as her Uber driver. And she gets in and we just start talking Russian. But she was talking like a mixture of Russian and Ukrainian, which is typical for Ukraine. Like half of the words are Russian, but pronounced with a Ukrainian accent. Half of the words are Ukrainian. I just spoke Russian. I understand everything, but it's hard for me to speak Ukrainian now. I can only say, like when she was getting out, I said "Дякую," thank you. I remember that. Oh, and I said when she got in, I said, "Як справи?" How are things? How are you? Як справи? Дуже гарно. Very well. Yeah, because I grew up there, you know. I was reading newspapers, listening to radio in Ukrainian, reading books, and we had Ukrainian at school, which I tried to opt out, but they said, no, you want it because this will help you later. So they persuaded my parents not to cut me from the class. Where the heck is this leading me? Well, this is another... oh, I know what it's doing. It's sending me to Canada 1. This is another big shopping center called Market Mall. Again, good area for Uber, you know, because there's lots of shoppers that don't have cars. So university area is this way to my left, and this is Shaganapi Trail. North is that way, south is this way. Look at this little hill over here. Never been on this road, I don't think. People are dressed like paratroopers, you know, in extreme Arctic military operations, like thermal boots, thermal clothing.
In 400 meters, turn right onto Bonus Road northwest.
What the heck? This is some kind of route. but at least you guys get to see nice residential areas, super big houses here. Rich people live here.
Turn right onto Bonus Road Northwest. In 200 meters, turn left onto 49th Street Northwest. At the light, turn left onto 49th Street Northwest, then turn right onto Trans-Canada Highway.
Wow, non-stop traffic. So yeah, I was right.
Right onto Trans-Canada Highway, Alberta 1 West.
It was sending me to Trans-Canada Highway. Via some weird back roads.
Continue on Alberta 1 West for 9 kilometers.
And this is where they are fixing that pipe, you know. They had problems twice. It's like one of the water mains, I'm pretty sure. Huge crane over there. Yeah, I see, like that's the... So lots of people were left without water, and this highway was closed actually because they were working on that. Because they were saying that the pipe is getting very old, and so they're replacing it now in this weather. Man, I don't envy those guys over there working in these conditions outside. And we're crossing over the Bow River. Uh-oh. My lane is closed. Well, at least on the way back, I won't have to deal with this. I'll just jump on the ring road, you know, 201 with that skid steer. Hopefully the lady was able to start it, so by the time I get there it should be warm. And the only trick is I will have to, all these machines that have the windshield, right now I'm loading backwards to prevent damage to the windshield in transport. Wow, super heavy traffic going, that's towards downtown. we are getting out of the city, but it's not too far. It's basically where I'm going. It's close to that little regional airport. Forgot the name, but there's a small airport where you can take like flying lessons and stuff like that, and they have helicopters and small planes. So I have 2 pairs of socks on, and my feet are still freezing. So this heater does not work very well in this kind of weather. I guess the floor, the rubber on the floor is cold, and it transfers the cold through my boots to my feet. So the speed limit here is 80 clicks an hour, 50 miles an hour. As you can see, there's hardly any traffic for me on this side. And the sign on top says Banff. So if you stay on this road for roughly 2 hours, you'll end up in Banff. And look at this. That's what happens when you leave a bottle, even though it's empty, but it got all compressed because the air inside got so cold that the bottle almost collapsed because the truck was sitting outside. But plugged in overnight, started, no issues.
Use the right 2 lanes to take exit 172 from Banff Country.
What? 50? Why would there be 50 in here? It used to be 80. It's probably for that lane. Yeah, here it's 80. Should be 100 and then 110, but as you can see, it's all big construction zone. Banff, 115, oh, 115, 115 kilometers, so that's like not 2 hours, I'm sorry, just over an hour. Because once you pass this, that's my exit, Old Banff Coach Road. Once you pass this, the speed limit changes to 110, 68 miles per hour. actually even here. It says end of construction. And you see the sign on the right, 110. That's kilometers, so 68 miles per hour.
In 600 meters, use the right 2 lanes to take exit 172 for Old Bath Coach Road.
Oh yeah, Springbank, that's what it's called. Springbank Airport. And also they have a Springbank golf course here. And this is already Rocky View County. So we are officially out of Calgary.
Take exit 172, then take the Old Bath Coach Road route.
I can see the mountains. But because of the cold temperature, they seem kind of like in a fog. Minus 29 now. Wow. Things are getting more and more exciting. Probably that's why my feet are freezing. It was 26, now it's minus 29.
Take the Old Bath Coach Road route, then merge onto Old Bath Coach Road.
Yes, Miss Google. Any more wisdom for me?
In 600 meters, turn left onto Township Road 250.
Township Road 250. This is where they have all these mansions and farms. And I think the place where I'm picking up
Township Road 250.
my machine is it's a farm.
Continue on Township Road 250 for 3 kilometers.
Oh, that's it. So from here it's just 3 kilometers and I'm there. Beautiful over here. Ravines, hills. Lots of trees. This community is called Crocus Ridge. Crocus Ridge. And I delivered this one, so I remember the place. It's pretty narrow there. I think I'll have to back in. And the driveway is like this road is like this. You know, so I cannot, it would be very difficult to drive in, and it's narrow, so if I drive in, how do I load the machine, because my bed is in the back, right? So make it sense to go like this and then back in the driveway. And the machine is on the deck. The lady brought it out. I backed it on. Oh shit, I forgot to lift the legs. The wheel lift. Hold on. definitely feels much colder here because we are closer to the mountains.
Head toward Range Road 33.
And from here it's 38 clicks back to base. 24 miles. The mountains are due west. And we are heading back to civilization. See, easy when I backed in. Otherwise it's too narrow. I don't know where I would
Range Road 32.
do a U-turn.
Continue for 3 kilometers.
And I got lucky that, you know, you can position the machine so that when you tie down the front, and on this one it uses the handles. There's like handles on the frame near the door, and they are marked as tie downs, which is a bit weird, but that's what this one has. And so if the machine is at a proper, in the proper spot, oh, look at this, nice. If the machine is in the proper spot, because I only have so many slots on the deck, right? But if you position it cleverly, those chains, they touch the bucket. You know, they from the handles to the floor, and so they push on the bucket. So this way you don't need another strap. So I got one chain in the back and two chains in the front, because it's under 10,000 pounds. I think this one weighs like 8,500 pounds. So what is it, like 5 tons? No, wait, 5 tons would be 12,000 pounds. No, it's less than, like, metric. It would be less, probably, what, 3 tons? 3.5? Alright, that's it. After work, I'm going to Canadian Tire. I'm buying some gloves. Some insulated gloves with waterproof outside. Because this is ridiculous. These fabric gloves are just, it's a joke.
In 500 meters, turn right onto Old Banff Coach Road, Ridge Road 31.
And that's my first run. So one delivery, one pickup. I delivered electric pallet jack,
Turn right onto Old Banff
picked up a skid steer.
31.
And the skid steers and the excavators are probably my favorite machines because they're so much fun to operate.
Continue on Old Banff Coach Road for 1 kilometer.
And that's it. We're going back to Trans-Canada 1. And this time I'm just jumping on the ring road. So I'm gonna be easy peasy. But I'm gonna show you guys the ring road to see what condition it's in after this snowstorm and this deep freeze. Oh, now it's minus 29. So over there, because of the sun, I was sitting, when I was loading it said minus 25. I knew that was not right. Man.
In 500 meters, take the ramp to Calgary.
Yeah, now we go under the bridge. So that's west towards Banff. This is east towards Calgary. Yeah, see the sign? Banff is this ramp.
Take the ramp to Calgary, then merge onto Trans-Canada Highway.
Yes, Miss Google. So it's It's all covered in snow and ice.
Continue on Alberta 1 East for 4 kilometers.
70, 75, 80, 85,
3 kilometers. Use the right 2 lanes to take the exit towards Stony Trail,
90.
Alberta 201 East.
Point of no return. 95. 100 kilometers an hour. The chassis is up. Thank you for choosing Captain Sergey's airline. 110. That's the speed limit. I'm telling you, this truck, it's pretty fast. So even with 8,000 pounds on the deck, picks up speed pretty good. Calgary, Blue Sky City. Hello. But then here we have to slow down. Because here it changes for some reason, I don't know why it's so early, changes to 80. 50 miles an hour. And of course, most people don't care. Look at this guy. Idiot. What if there's a cop at the bottom there? He's doing 110, so he's 30 clicks over.
In 600 meters, use the right 2 lanes to take the exit.
That's around $300 fine.
Use the right 2 lanes to take the exit towards Stony Trail.
Stony Trail. That's our ring road.
Continue for 1 kilometer.
See, the reason I have only, well, 2 speeding tickets. Well, I had one in my Challenger, right? And the second one, technically I don't have yet because I'm going to court in August.
In 600 meters, use the left 2 lanes.
But the reason why I have only 2 or 1 is because I always assume the big brother is watching. So you know that you're not gonna get a ticket for 1 kilometer over,
Use the left 2 lanes to take the Alberta 201 North ramp.
but if you're driving 30 clicks over, you're asking for it. Oh, look at this guy.
1.5 kilometers.
Uh-oh, it's all ice. Better go this way. Actually, this ramp, it's very sharp, so that's why the sign says 60. 60 clicks an hour is a recommended safe speed, because probably they had some, usually these signs, I kind of like respect them because they would not put them on or put them up if nothing happened here. So that means that somebody was driving too fast, probably hit the wall, flew over there, you know. And and then here we can start speeding up.
500 meters, merge onto Stony Trail, Alberta 201 East.
There was a guy to my right. I was wondering what's he gonna do, because he can still have room to pass me, but he chose to go behind me.
Continue on Alberta 201
Wise
East,
decision,
1 kilometers.
Mr. Red. What is it? Jeep? This guy over here. What do we have? Acura MDX. Passing again over the Bow River. It's all foggy and misty. Minutes back to home. Doing my second run. It's just 2 deliveries, basically 2 drops, no pickups. I loaded 2 medium-size scissor lifts. Just delivered the first one, and this name, you know, is familiar. I think it's pronounced Mabe, but I'm not 100%. M-A-B-E. When I worked for McKinnon Transport, quite a few times they would send us to this place, but in Montreal, Quebec. And these guys had all kinds of fridges, ovens, you know, basically home equipment, you know, for your kitchen. And we would go there, and our trailers would be preloaded. And quite often, let's say I go there with an empty drive-in trailer, and then I go into the office and
Head towards 60th Street Southeast.
well, I'm dropping off the trailer first,
60th Street Southeast.
and then I go into the office. They give me all the paperwork, and they give me the number of the
60th Street Southeast.
preloaded trailer, and I go there, I hook up the trailer, and then take it usually to somewhere in the States. So I think it was this company, yeah, Mabe. Basically, yeah, it's like now I remember, it's they were kind of like a General Electric dealer,
In 400 meters, turn right onto 90th Avenue
like
Southeast.
wholesaler. Yeah, you see, a very big place. It's all their warehouse, and they have the trailers standing at docks getting loaded. Just wanted to show you the roads here in the south. So I'm in the deep south, what I call deep south, basically bottom of Calgary. But the roads actually are pretty good. Very, you know, leveled up. So it's all industrial here. Warehouses, factories.
Turn right onto 90th Avenue Southeast.
Parking lots for trucks.
In 800 meters, turn right onto 50
Oh, and this previous drop, the one I just did, a guy comes out, turns out it's a new construction site. They're building some huge building there, like probably a new warehouse or a factory or something, and they tell me to go through the gate and look for a guy. He'll be on the lookout for me. It's basically AC guys or refrigeration, I don't know. So a guy comes, I go through the gate, the guy comes out. That's why I'm wearing this, because there was a sign at the gate, full PPE is required. And I left my straps, you know, high visibility straps at at the company. Oh, check this out, international dealer. They're still in business. What? People are still buying international trucks? And that's an international, by the way. And this is 52nd Street. And so yeah, the guy comes out and says wait,
52nd Street Southeast North.
and goes away, and then he comes back with another guy. And there was a telehandler parked to my right, like a big machine, you know, with a huge boom. So I know that one can lift a lot, but for some reason they're not saying anything to me. But I see the guy is getting in the telehandler and it starts positioning himself behind my truck. I said, guys, so you want to tell me what's going on? Are you gonna take it off here? Yeah. So I said, shall I take the chains off? Or are you gonna lift it like this? Yeah, take the chains off. Okay. So I take the chains off, and again, these machines are super friendly for transport. These scissor lifts, Genie. So, oh, look at this guy, K-Whopper, beat train, full of lumber, no tarp. Somebody's being a bad boy, because that lumber looked like dry lumber. Aren't you supposed to tarp it? Well, maybe not when it's minus 20. Oh, almost summer, minus 20. Tow trucks are making a killing.
Turn left toward Glenmore Trail South.
I saw so many trucks on the side of the road. So one guy with a flat tire, okay, but then there's a bunch of guys, you know, I'm guessing
At the light, use any lane to turn left onto Glenmore Trail Southeast.
they're coming from US, and they probably fueled up somewhere where it's much warmer. Like here, you know, I've been here, what, 2.5 years? No, wait, from October 22, right? And I've been driving diesel trucks and these Freightliners, which are also diesel trucks, right? I'm talking about pickup trucks. And we just fuel up at the petrol pass, and just like everybody else here locally, we never use any additives, because the fuel here, you know, like the logic is that they should have something in the fuel, otherwise
Glenmore Trail Southeast.
it would just freeze at the pump, right? And so local fuel, it's good to go. You don't have to spend 15-20 bucks each time to buy, you know, anti-gel like I used to do in the States. But the problem is, you know, let's say you're somewhere in Texas, and of course you have huge tanks, so you fill up 1,000 liters because the price is way cheaper. But over there it was warm and they don't use any additives in the fuel, and then you come to Alberta and it's minus 30, and that's when you're in trouble. Your fuel gels up and you're sitting on the side of the road waiting for the big rig tow truck to tow you to a dealership. Oh, these guys over here always see these bundles of lumber, and usually there's a bunch of trucks here. Yeah, I see that's lumber, and then the guys just go in. Oh yeah, they're loading one guy or unloading. Yeah, actually now it feels much warmer. A friend from Edmonton left me a message. We were just again comparing notes about the temperature. Over there it is like much colder, maybe 10 degrees Celsius lower than here. And so yeah, the telehandler guy just took off the machine, so it was super quick. I put my chains away, and now I'm heading over to my second drop. Same 26-foot scissor lift, so the one that can go up to 26 feet. And it's somewhere near the airport, and that's why I'm heading this way in Glenmore to catch Deerfoot or Highway 2 to go north towards the airport. And this is one crazy intersection here. If you're on Glenmore, or even if you're, this is Barlow, this is Glenmore, this is Barlow Trail, there's two lights because this intersection is so big that you have to go through two lights to cross it. Oh wow, check this guy. Scrap metal. That's a horror story. I remember when I bought my the cheap step deck, 53-foot 3-axle step deck, and I went with aluminum floor for some reason again, and I delivered some carpet rolls to Alberta. I'm pretty sure it was either Alberta or Saskatchewan. And then on the way back, that's all I found was this stuff. And this is a brand new trailer, you know, like basically second trip. First one was from US to Canada, and this one is from Canada to US. And so I went to Home Depot and I spent my own money, and I bought sheets of plywood because I was afraid this thing will damage my aluminum floor. And so before the guy loaded me, I said wait. So I put sheets of plywood, and then I got to my destination. They unloaded me, and I see like holes in the floor because it was some kind of like, I don't know, washing machine or something with a frame, and that piece of metal was sticking into the floor. And so by the time I got to the unloading point, I had a couple of holes in the brand new trailer. I felt like crying, you know. Not to mention that the first trip with the rolls of carpet, the forklift guy damaged the rub rail. It was bent in, and when I confronted them, they said, no, it's not us, it was like this. Oh really? It's a brand new trailer. It's my first trip, but I did not see them do it, and so it was a very unlucky trailer. Like first two trips, bent rub rail, holes on the floor. So nowadays I would never buy a trailer with aluminum floor, even though wood is heavier, but it's way more practical, easier to fix, you know. That's why all RGN trailers, you know, when you do heavy haul, they all have wood floor, because you don't care about weight anyway, because you're traveling under, you know, overweight, oversized permit. And after this one, see, I'm gonna be at the drop-off at 11:15 or something, 11:17, so which is already my lunch window. So I feel like in this kind of weather,
In 600 meters, take the Alberta 2 exit.
I feel like a burger with lots of meat. Something that's gonna warm me up from the inside, you know.
Take the Alberta 2 exit, then slide right onto the Alberta 2 ramp.
There's some kind of big plant over here, pipe plant.
Slide right onto the Alberta 2 ramp, then merge onto Alberta 2 north.
Bye-bye Glenmore Trail. Hello Deerfoot Trail. Like I mentioned before, there's no roads in Calgary, it's all trails. So you have to watch for wildlife. Uh-oh, we have trouble. Stalled vehicle in my lane.
Continue on Alberta 2 north, 13 kilometers.
And this is a construction zone. Speed limit is 80 clicks an hour. All right, what shall we do? McDonald's or Dairy Queen? I had sushi yesterday for lunch at Kinjo. Today I'm thinking Dairy Queen. But I'm not 100% yet. We'll see how I feel after the drop. By the way, this somebody's dirty jacket, it was just left here in the Freightliner. Feels so much warmer when you put it on. And I found some old gloves that I brought to the truck, and they have some artificial fur inside, very warm. Like, look at this. Okay, the construction is over, I think. Yeah, so we can do 200 kilometers an hour here. Passing a Road King truck stop over there. This is a Pagan Trail and Barlow Trail. The Flying J is further to the south. Okay, what's my exit? McKnight, okay. McKnight Boulevard. Oh, there's always people coming here. So we better move this way. Well, again, like I said, when it's cold, everybody drives slow. Downtown is to my left, and this is north. passing a Porsche. Come on, Porsche, you can do it. I'm not even 100 kilometers an hour. I'm like 95, 96. Passing a Honda Civic, 1.3 liter engine. Passing Chevy Silverado, I think, but it has too much snow there, I cannot see. Passing GMC Sierra. A regular cab. You don't see these too often now. Everybody gets trucks with, you know, 4 doors, like that one. That's a Ram 1500 Sport. Probably 85, 90 grand new. Oh, you see a tow truck. Money. Okay, gotta get ready for my exit in 2.5 clicks. Now there's some mods people do for, you know, to make the car look prettier or maybe more powerful. And then there's mods like this where you're not sure what the goal was. So basically the muffler is falling off, and they put some kind of a tape in there trying to hold it. Man, I don't know. Like that tape will burn, right? Because the exhaust is hot, and the entire thing is gonna fall down. Trail just had a triple burger and the Dairy Queen behind me. So usually when I have a triple burger, I get scaffolding orders after lunch. But maybe today I will get lucky. During lunch, when I finished my 5-pound burger, I had enough time to call my cable company. So it turns out the department that handles the old Shore accounts is called Rogers with Shore, and they have their own number. So it's not Rogers, it's not Shore, it's Rogers with Shore, meaning that this is for people like me who used to be Shore's customers. And so I said, I made a payment yesterday, could you please check? I wasn't holding any hopes because normally they told me it takes 2 business days, and I only paid yesterday around 6 p.m. from the bank. But the lady checked her account after verifying my identity. So this time everything worked because they have my correct phone number. I updated the PIN, everything is good. She asked me for my address, we gave her the address. And she says, yeah, I see here that you don't owe any money. We received the payment. Cool. I said, so I should get my internet today. She says, yeah, I think so. But here it shows that your modem is offline. And I said, well, I'm pretty sure it's plugged in, but I turned off the TV. Maybe that's why it shows that. Because, yeah, it's not playing anything, right? But I said, when I come home, it should work, right? And she said, yeah. And so now I should be able to upload the video that's already sitting in my computer, the one from previous day. And now I'm gonna do this video. So you'll guys probably see 2 videos on the same day for some maximum exposure for the channel. And last thing, I found out why I got behind. I asked the lady, I said, could you please verify something for me? What is the method of payment you have for me on my file? Is it a bank account or is it a credit card or what is it? And she looked up and she says, it's a credit card. And I'm pretty sure that one is maxed out. So it was a maxed out credit card that got me into trouble. So, and that's why, it's actually cool, right? When your payment is coming out of a credit card, if it's missed, the credit card company does not charge you any fees. It just bounces the payment. That's it. Like the card is maxed out, so they cannot process the payment. Payment declined. But when it's from a bank account, then my particular bank charges me like $45, I think, if they return the payment. So it's definitely way cheaper, way more convenient to use a credit card for bill payments than a bank card. But right now, I have to use my bank account. And she says she's in support, so she cannot change my method of payment, so I have to call a billing department. I said, okay, I'm on a short lunch break, have to go, I'll call later today to make sure, because if I leave it like this, I'll owe them money again. But thankfully, wow, I'll be able to watch movies today and work with my YouTube videos. Now this you don't see every day, so I'm just trying to exit Petropass station, and this guy broke down right in the middle of the road. Holy moly. All right, we'll do a little detour.